September 15th, 1940, London, England. Searchlights cut through the night sky. Air raid siren. The RAF scrambles every fighter it can spare, and the sky over Britain is about to burn red hot.
Such a mess. But look at the bright side. So much potential for recycling. Instead of columns of Heinkel and Dornier bombers gliding into bomber streams that the Luftwaffe can see and count,
something soars over the channel that their radars can't read.
A B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, a modern marvel of the 21st century, dropped into 1940 roughly 70 years too soon. Low observable skin, a silhouette that confuses radar, and loaded with precision weapons that can crater a command post without flattening an entire neighborhood.
So, what happens when a single modern stealth bomber, backed by decades of engineering, sensors, and precision munitions, goes head-to-head with the Luftwaffe and Britain's wartime air defenses? Can one plane change the course of an air campaign? Will it make an impact? First, let's take a look at what we just delivered to Hitler's doorstep. The B-2 is designed to be almost invisible.
So early warning chains like Chain Home either miss it or show a faint, indecipherable blip. It carries a mix of precision weapons, GPS and INS-guided JDAMs, bunker-busting munitions, and standoff missiles. And its targeting suite can map and strike multiple hardened targets with surgical accuracy.
Underneath that low profile are 4 high-bypass turbofan engines, giving it a long range and high endurance.
In service, the B-2 operates with tanker support and specialized maintenance crews.
Without aerial refueling, it still has impressive range, but it isn't limitless. Its stealth skin and avionics are delicate and require a support chain that 1940 simply doesn't have. This is not a permanent force multiplier.
Dropped into 1940, the B-2 would be a single, overwhelmingly advanced tool, able to see and strike with a precision the era has never known. But it would also be a one-day intervention, unless someone can refuel, rearm, and protect it.
The Germans in 1940 weren't defenseless.
The Luftwaffe is at its peak.
Hundreds of Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighters dominate the skies over France and the Channel. With squadrons of twin-engine Bf-110s backing them up. Anti-aircraft batteries ring every major city, and heavy flak guns can throw shells the size of footballs thousands of feet into the air. Radar stations along the French coast scan constantly for British interceptors. This network is what made the Battle of Britain so fierce. German bombers could be detected, tracked, and intercepted. Even at night, searchlights and sound locators gave flak gunners a chance to hit their targets. Against a stream of slow, high-flying Heinkels, it was deadly.
But against a B-2, that's where things start to look different.
First, the radar problem. Chain Home, the British system, could detect bomber streams from miles away. But German Freya and Würzburg radars were primitive compared to what the Allies built later.
A stealth bomber simply doesn't reflect enough energy for these sets to track.
At best, operators might see a faint, wandering ghost on their screens, impossible to confirm or direct fighters toward.
Then there's speed and altitude. The B-2 cruises around 600 miles per hour at altitudes well above 40,000 feet. The Bf-109, even in its prime, maxed out near 400 miles per hour and struggled above 35,000 feet. In other words, even if a squadron saw it visually, climbing to intercept would be nearly impossible before it vanished into the night.
The B-2 could drop GPS-guided munitions from beyond the maximum effective range of most anti-aircraft guns.
Its bombs could crack open a hardened bunker or rip apart a bridge with one strike.
Where German gunners would normally fire blindly into bomber streams, the B-2 could sit outside their reach and still complete its mission.
But let's not undersell the Germans. They do have numbers, thousands of fighters, entire belts of flak.
And ground observers everywhere. The bomber can't be invisible to the human eye.
A silhouette that's strange, a black wing gliding silently across the moonlit sky, would definitely draw attention.
Spotters could track its general direction. Fighters could be vectored into its path, hoping to visually catch it.
Flak gunners could light up the sky with enough.
Metal to make flying dangerous, even for something from the future. And that's the core of the problem. Yes, the B-2 has stealth and range, but it's only one plane. One bomber can't do everything. If it's going to change the battle, it needs to strike the right target, at the right time, with its limited loadout.
So the question becomes, where does it strike? The Luftwaffe's airfields in northern France? Radar stations along
6:20 a.m. The B-2 slips across the channel and climbs to high altitude. Its flying wing barely a ghost on chain home screens.
At this range and with that low observable shape, coastal radars either didn't see it or register a vague blip that means nothing. Fighter controllers have no clear vector to hand to interceptors. The bomber slows into a holding pattern well outside effective flak arcs and switches on its synthetic aperture radar and targeting pods. From 30,000 to 40,000 feet, its sensors paint a map of London's defenses. Radar nodes, AA batteries, fuel depots, forward air bases, and command bunkers. These are the nodes that make coordinated bombing possible. The B-2 doesn't need to bomb whole cities. It needs to break the network that lets massed raids find and time their strikes. Incidents and confused scramble orders ripple through German units.
The B-2 completed a surgical high-value raid.
It didn't wipe out entire formations, but it shredded the network that made those formations lethal. Still, it used a finite loadout, risked visual detection, and relied on carefully timed releases to stay outside most flak envelopes.
8:10 a.m. The B-2 slips away on a shallow climb, sensors still humming, but the clock is already ticking.
It did exactly what it was sent to do: destroy the nodes that let mass raids form and coordinate.
But every bomb dropped and every radar jammed costs time, fuel, and ordnance. In 1940, there's nowhere to refuel it, no tanker tracks to meet it, and no hangar crews who understand stealth coatings or fly-by-wire electronics. What the B-2 needs to stay in the fight is a modern supply chain. In 1940, that chain simply doesn't exist.
Maintenance is another hidden limit. The B-2's low observable skin is delicate.
Bird strikes, shrapnel, even rough handling can compromise its radar-absorbent surfaces. Its avionics and targeting suites require diagnostics and spare parts that won't be invented for decades. A single storm of flak or a mystery impact could force it down for repairs that nobody in 1940 can perform.
Even if it lands intact, it's effectively a spectacular paperweight without a logistics tail.
Then there's political and strategic pushback. Smashing radars and fuel dumps buys time, not permanent advantage. The Luftwaffe adapts. Routes change, dispersal increases, Night attacks become more common.
And dispersion of maintenance and refueling points reduces the effect of further strikes.
Production lines still churn. Factories can be hidden or rebuilt. Personnel can be replaced. One aircraft can't... Tactically, though, the B-2's impact is sharp. The Fighter Command would use those hours to repair gaps, reposition squadrons, and score interceptions it otherwise couldn't. But the B-2 can't be everywhere, can't permanently stop production, and can't supply itself.
Its dominance is only temporary. So a single modern stealth bomber couldn't win the war.
It could dominate battles and tilt campaigns for a time, yet without refueling, resupply, and support, it is a one-day miracle, not a solution. Or what do you think would happen? And if you want to know what happens when a modern drone is sent back in time to kill Hitler, click the video on screen now.